So, this is our pre-show.
It is.
A pre-show.
Hello, hello.
Oh, you have a really nice voice.
Oh, thank you.
So, really quick, this is the weekend of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So, a new soundtrack, a new movie.
Yeah, it would be a new movie.
It would. It would, since it came out in theaters. Yeah, absolutely. But I know recently, Kevin, you got your wife to finally watch the first one.
Yes, and she loved it.
What's she like? Like, is that something that she normally would like? Or?
She loves a lot of action adventure movies. But when I asked her if she liked it, she's like, "Oh yeah, I loved it." I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "I like the humor in it."
Okay.
Oh, like, all right.
That's very good. Well, I'm glad she liked it because the new one just came out. It came out technically this morning at midnight, and we're planning on going in the next few days. Us four.
I know. I can't wait. I'm so pumped.
So I'm excited. We just had a guest here who informed us that it was a very good movie. They've already seen it. They said it was great.
Yep.
They said it's so much more than what we're expecting from the trailers. So I can't wait to see it.
So it better be that good.
Yeah, and if not, we're gonna have a handicap match against him. It's be us two versus him. You see how I did that? How
I saw what you did there.
We are getting so good at this. It's ridiculous.
We are.
So our guest that you're about to listen to, he is an independent pro wrestler from the Syracuse area. His name is Kevin the Man Graham, and he is more man than I ever will be.
Oh, for sure. Do you see his arms?
I didn't see anything else.
Yeah.
Like Hulk Hogan has nothing on him with his pythons.
Yeah, he is enormous.
He's much bigger than when we first met him, which is a true testament of how the amount of work that he put into becoming where he is today.
And when you hear his deep voice, he is as big as he sounds.
Yes. So this episode, again, we talk about wrestling growing up, watching pro wrestling, and some movies associated to it, and just in general, wrestling growing up with our friend, the independent professional wrestler, Kevin the Man Graham. We hope you enjoy the episode. Hey Kevin.
Hey Tim.
We're doing a podcast.
We are.
We're doing a special podcast though because we actually, for the first time ever, I would like to say that we have an official guest.
Official, yeah.
It is official. The good part is we're a new podcast and we don't have a lot of money, so to get him booked today, thankfully it didn't cost us too much.
I'm not sure how we did it, but we did.
Yeah, but I think he's going to ask for more at the end, so we're in a lot of trouble. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our guest. Making his way to the ring,
Such a dork.
hailing from Syracuse, New York, weighing in at 210 pounds,
230.
230 pounds. The man, Kevin Oh, this is audio. Yeah.
I didn't know exactly when to come in there or what I was supposed to do.
It works. So Kevin, welcome to Screen Talkers.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited you're here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all drinking coffee and everything. We used your old music.
My old, possibly still current, depending on location and what I'm allowed to use. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think my basement's a good location.
Your basement's a fantastic location. I was kind of surprised when you said that you were a podcast that didn't have a lot of money, and because most podcasts have no money, so you're already ahead of most people.
Well, I mean, we don't. We had to buy the
Yeah.
equipment, so we're already behind.
You're already in the hole, is what
Yes.
you're saying. Yeah.
We just got to dig our way out.
Yeah, it
Gotcha.
turns out we don't make money.
No, we don't.
Most don't. Yeah.
They don't. I mean,
It's a lot like the wrestling business, as a matter of fact.
I think that's why you're going to be a great guest.
Yes,
today.
I feel right at home.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today, we're going to kind of talk about wrestling because all three of us grew up watching it.
Sure did.
Pretty religiously, and it put me in a great spot. But it's okay. It's all good because but we're here to talk about it. So Kevin, if I don't know if our listeners know who you are. Do you want to kind of let them know who you are and a little bit about you?
Sure, we can do that.
Let's do it.
I have been a professional wrestler, as they call them, for about 7.5 years now.
Oh my!
I believe I've known you guys for pretty much that entire time, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Oswego.
Way back in Oswego.
Still remember that first night.
Oh yeah.
Was that like 2008 or something like that?
It was 2000. We all met on the first
fall
night.
of 2007.
Oh.
We met the first night of the Pro
10
Wrestling
years ago.
Club.
Yes.
Us three were the first ones in the room.
Wait, hey, do you guys swear?
Oh yeah, you can.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
fuck, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. It was a decade.
Shit, goddamn.
I got baller and fatter, and you got more muscular and
I know,
became a
you're
superstar.
enormous.
So we went different ways, basically.
Yes, completely.
Yeah, no, Jesus, it's been about 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been doing, because you had already trained a little bit.
A little bit.
And then
I didn't train at all.
Kevin, you didn't train at all. And then I kind of got into the training, and then I took a break for a little while. I got back into the training, and then I took another break for a longer while. And then I've been doing it steadily since 2009, I guess, was a good roundabout year to put it at. Since 2009. And then I've been podcasting for about 2.5 years, so it's basically where my life has taken me.
I think that's some good places.
I agree.
Some good places. So,
it's some weird places.
What's your podcast about?
Well, we've got the Brainstormers podcast. Me and former 2CW alum Jason Axe. We're doing the Brainstormers podcast since fall of 2015. Typically, what we try to do is come up with ideas to make everybody's lives better. More often than not, that's not what we do. And we end up just rambling about whatever's current in, tech news, pop culture, that sort of thing, trying to put a nice little spin back on it and focus on, was that a good idea? Was that a bad idea? Who's making money off of this idea, and how could they do it better?
I enjoyed on your podcast the United Airlines plug that you had with the guy from Rogue One and how he could get to Mos Eisley so quickly.
That's how we finished our last episode, actually.
Yeah.
That was a good time. Sometimes we just end up ranting for long periods of time, which usually makes for an interesting episode.
Which is what we usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably too much.
We don't know what we're talking about. So,
as long as you talk, it doesn't really matter if you know what you're talking about.
All right. That's fair.
Yeah. We almost had dead silence right there. That was perfect. Towards the end, we'll get in. I want you to be able to plug your stuff.
Sure.
I want people to buy your merch. Yeah, I want them to buy your
merch.
Go to the website, buy Kevin's shirts.
There's merch?
His action figures.
Oh, God, if only.
That'd be great. So I guess to the Kevins, I almost feel like I'm in Office Space with the Bobs. I'm having a meeting with you guys.
Yeah.
Let's just go down the line. Kevin Graham, when did you start watching wrestling?
I don't know, because I was watching wrestling, I think, before I even knew what I was doing. And that's honestly, like my first memory is of watching wrestling.
Yeah,
so,
I kind of agree with that. I just remember waking up either Saturday or Sunday morning and wrestling was on. I don't even know what it was.
That was the day you came to.
Yeah.
That was the day your conscience woke up. Oh, hey, cool.
Now, what about a date when is there a time when you think it clicked when you're like, yeah, I watch wrestling? Now, it just wasn't on, there was something on, but when you actually really got into it, do you remember when that happened?
It's tough to say.
Like when you got your first boner.
Oh, I was going to say, I think I got my first boner while watching wrestling. I don't know, honestly. Because again, it was just one of those things that was so ingrained into me at such a young age that it was always just it was always just a part of my daily routine. Basically, was there was wrestling on TV on the weekends. There was wrestling on TV at some point throughout the week. There were wrestling figures scattered throughout the house. So it was always just kind of a part of my life growing up, essentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was definitely during the 90s. I remember at an early age, it was during Razor Ramon and Diesel, Hulk Hogan. I don't know. I mean, I think when I really got into it was during the Attitude Era when Stone Cold Steve Austin really became huge. I think that's for me when I really got into it, and DX became big. The New Age Outlaws.
You love your New Age Outlaws.
I'm wearing a DX shirt right now. So
I remember watching it. I remember as a kid I said, "The clown never loses," and I said it like that, referring to Doink.
Doink. Yep.
But when I actually remember watching it, I'm not going to make this a sad episode, but when everything happened with my mom, I needed to escape. And I turned to wrestling, and I remember it was a Sunday Night Heat in 1999. I don't remember what was happening, but I think the corporation, the ministry, and I know the McMahons were in the ring, but everyone was fighting against Austin for some reason, Stone Cold, and he gave like 25 stunners.
That'll happen.
And I had a TV in my bedroom, my brother had a TV in his, and we're just watching it, and we're laughing our asses off.
Yeah.
I remember at that point, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm watching it from here on out.
Yeah.
And that was the downfall of my life.
Oh.
That
sounds about right.
Yeah, so right around the same time, you said Attitude Era and things like that. I mean, that's when everything was happening with all the other companies and the good competition and variety.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's actually one great point that you brought up was the variety of it, because you had the WWF, the WCW, and ECW at the time, which was sort of like as a lot of people would put it back then, the renegade promotion. I mean, you always had variety throughout the 70s and the 80s, but that was so spread out. This was on such a national level.
And primetime.
And primetime. So, as a fan who lived in central New York, you had access to 3 different companies on a somewhat regular basis.
Yeah. Yeah. And they would bring pay-per-views to Syracuse.
And they would bring pay-per-views to Syracuse, yeah.
So, which I think it's still just live shows that happen now.
Yeah, they don't really do any, Albany, Rochester, Buffalo, sometimes. They'll get the televised tapings, but anything else in between, you're just getting live shows, basically.
Nice. Kevin Graham.
Hi.
Now, I just want to make sure you know this. I'm one hell of an interviewer. So
okay.
I hope.
I want hard-hitting questions.
These are going to be hard-hitting questions.
Okay.
What match was it when you felt that boner for the first time while you watch wrestling?
I didn't.
I'm joking. That's not the real question. Next question. What's your favorite? What were some of your favorite moments when you were a child when you watched wrestling? What were those moments that ingrained into your head where you're just like, yep, I'm never going to forget this moment?
Oh, man.
Specific moments, huh?
I think specific moments.
Those high spots.
I think when Bret Hart became a bad guy, officially. It's like post-Mania 13.
Okay.
That was a big one for me. I think like Austin winning the title for the first time was a big one for me. I think actually realizing and understanding what ECW was huge, because like that was my Friday night. Like 5th and 6th grade Fridays, I came home from school, I sat in my room, I got all my wrestling stuff out, and then at 6 o'clock, it was like 6 or 7 o'clock on TNN, ECW was on my TV, and then I would watch Rollerball. Or no, it was Roller Jam.
Roller Jam,
yes. Roller Jam. Yeah. Yeah, but I think growing up, like those, I mean, obviously you had like, the Saturday morning BS, like, which was just the recaps and all that, but like, I think some of those moments, like, because I was a huge Bret Hart fan growing up.
And see, I wasn't.
You weren't? No. Okay.
No, let's do it. Go into it right now. This is content.
I don't know what it was.
Hard-hitting conversation.
I had no reason. I just didn't like him.
See, I had no reason, and I just did like him.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
But I think when he became the bad guy and restarted the Hart Foundation, I was like, oh man, what do I do? I cheered for this guy, and he turned his back on America. I mean, he's Canadian, but but like, that was a big moment for me. Watching Austin win the title was huge, because that was just, I mean, not realizing it at the time, but just what him winning just meant for the industry in general. Like, that was big, and like I said, like, finally getting interested in understanding ECW as an entity, like, that was a big, because like after I started watching ECW, I'm like, this is it. This is everything I want to do.
And you're doing it.
I am doing it.
You're doing it. You're suplexing people.
I am. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How about you, Screen Talker Kevin?
As far as favorite moments,
Some favorite moments, memories.
I know a big turning point for me was, I want to say Royal Rumble 95, where Stone Cold comes out, or at least his music plays, and everyone in the ring just stops because they're all just waiting for him. And there was probably about 20 or so guys in there. And he comes out of the crowd and no one's expecting it. So he's coming behind everybody. And he just starts, just stunning everybody, throwing pretty much half of the ring he threw out. And I want to say it was the same Rumble where it was just him and The Rock at the end. And he gives the Rock a stunner, and he does that just extremely flamboyant, that like flip that he does. You know what I'm talking about?
He takes like the rolling. The somersault.
Yeah. So I think for me that was one of my most memorable moments watching wrestling, and a huge turning point for me.
I like it.
Good. Well, you should.
I like it. I have to say probably some of my favorite memories. I'm hanging out with my cousin because we got to watch it every week and play the games together and everything. I loved watching the Hardy Boys.
Oh yeah,
they were fun because I was like, wow, how can bodies do this? And then it really
turns out they really couldn't. They just managed.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was 2000. I think to me is when I discovered ECW on TNT. So I didn't really know about all the hardcore action that happened. So when I watched WrestleMania 2000 and Edge speared Jeff off the belts as he's hanging in the middle of the ring.
Oh God, yeah.
Like to me, I was just like, as they would chant in the crowd, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Like it was. How is this even humanly possible? And then WCW was great. I thought Goldberg was fantastic. I just loved watching him destroy people. It's kind of funny because it reminds me of me, how I just got destroyed. And then just like I was a huge Diamond Dallas Page fan. I don't know why, but just something about him clicked. I just enjoyed watching him, and I enjoy his yoga. That's very fun too.
Yeah.
It's not my mom's yoga. I can tell you
tried
that.
it.
Nope.
No. I just think looking back, just those days of I don't have to worry about anything in life. I go to school.
Yeah,
I ride home on the bus. I throw my backpack down. Downstairs playing WrestleMania 2000 or WCW NWO Revenge on the 64, and it's just this is what my life is supposed to be.
Games.
Yeah. So to me, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, to be 13 again was...
just sitting on the couch drinking Mountain Dew and eating Oreos.
And it's not doing anything to you.
Games.
You're not getting fatter.
I know.
You're not getting fatter. You're not getting bolder. You're not just like hating life because you got to wake up at 7 in the morning and go to a job. But
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh,
this got depressing.
Well, I told you it's hard hitting questions here. Another wrestling show question for you guys. Favorite pay-per-view annually as you were growing up?
Mine was King of the Ring.
Okay.
But they don't do that anymore.
There's no more King of the Ring?
There's no more King of the Ring.
Really? When did they stop doing that?
They stopped doing it as a pay-per-view, I want to say, in the early 2000s, and then...
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, we're out of it.
Yeah. They brought it back as like a Raw and SmackDown sort of gimmick where they just crowned a new King of the Ring, like, every week. They would do the tournament like weekly and stuff like that. But yeah, they haven't done like an actual pay-per-view in years. It's been a really long time.
That's pretty lame.
Yeah, it is.
So what about pay-per-views now?
I don't know because I don't really watch it now.
I think it's safe to say that none of us really do.
No.
Well, I like what you just said, though. It reminds me of How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
When Marshall's like... Ted, she hasn't even watched the Star Wars movies, and the only reason the characters haven't watched the Star Wars movies is because they live them, Ted. They live the Star Wars.
I like if I were to pick one now, I would have said WrestleMania, but after watching the most recent 7-hour,
I heard it was long.
Was it really that long?
It with all the pre-show stuff. It like the actual pay-per-view was. It was definitely over 4 hours.
That's still long.
with with less than 2 hours of in-ring action.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, that's no thanks.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm done. I'll just read the recaps.
Yeah. My favorite was always the Royal Rumble because it was something completely different from what you're used to watching. It's just everyone in the ring. I think the excitement of trying to see who's going to get thrown out next, who's coming out next. I don't know. To me, I thought that was the most exciting part of wrestling. Was the Royal Rumble.
The great thing about the Rumble too is that was always the big match where you could start so many storylines and angles within an hour and a half,
right?
Because you have guys who don't normally go face to face
and they
in the ring at the same time going at it, and that's how a lot of feuds got started.
Right, and I think another great part about it is trying to see who gets eliminated the fastest.
Yeah.
Who was it? Gilbert.
Gilbert. Was that his name?
No, it was Gilbert.
No, Gilbert.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, I remember he came into the ring. I think he posed for like a second and then got thrown out.
Also reminds me, back before we stopped, Santino.
Santino Marella.
yeah. He's got the quickest elimination.
Yeah.
Is he still?
That's right.
Do you know if he's still going?
Nope. He got fired or let go or something. I don't know.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
He seemed like a very nice man.
I never met him myself.
No.
Could have been a real asshole.
He could have been. He probably. I don't know. Who knows?
But I wouldn't know.
You never know.
Who knows? I would see. You guys said the two. You said Rumble and Mania.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back. Like I really enjoyed Survivor Series.
Which one was that?
The one where they would usually have the two teams of people, and it would be like big elimination match to see what team would win.
I did like those.
That was fun. I like SummerSlam was good because I felt like I was getting a mini WrestleMania before school
starts. Yeah.
started. That was fun. But I probably just have to go with Mania just because as a kid, it's supposed to blow your mind. It's supposed to be that midnight release of a Star Wars film.
Yeah, just this huge show that comes out once a year.
Yeah, but back then when we were kids, though, it was actual, like what you said, less than 2.5 hours of in-ring. Like when we were kids, the entire thing was
the
ring.
whole thing was, hey, let's get these guys in the ring and do a match.
Because it was what the first word of the pay-per-view was, wrestle.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Well, because I, prior to this most recent one, I was actually watching a couple of the older ones. I think I was watching, WrestleMania 8, and there were matches where I, just watching it, I'm like, they literally threw us together right before the match started.
Yeah.
They found two guys and they're like, hey, we need to kill time. Go out there and do a match. Where now it's like, ooh, we need to kill time. Let's do 20 minutes of promos. And it's just the same video packages that they've been playing for the weeks leading up.
How many WrestleManias do they have?
This was 33. This was WrestleMania 33, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still a lot, and the fact that it still makes a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So I guess to follow up with WrestleMania, what about a favorite WrestleMania match?
Ooh. A WrestleMania moment. That's what they ask him on the promos. That's a great question, Kevin. I'll pass to Kevin. We'll go back to because I'm not ready yet.
Oh, man. Jeez. Because I would say stuff like, oh, God, Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat was so great, but everybody knows that. Everybody loves that.
I don't
match.
know if our fans know that.
Okay, well,
podcast.
That's a really good one. I really love Austin versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. Oh. I think that's...
There was a lot of blood in that
There's
match.
a lot of blood in that match, and it's just a great match because I would have loved... It would have been amazing, I think, if those two could have had, the main feud to basically lead the WWF from into the 2000s. I think that they should have never let Bret Hart go. Basically, I think it was stupid because Austin and Bret always put on great matches, and I think that the fact that they never got to work an extended feud, I think was just super unfortunate. And then the fact that Bret Hart had to basically retire because Goldberg kicked him in the head.
It was a hard kick.
Yeah.
I just remember that as you said that.
Yeah.
He went down.
But that's a great one. Austin Rock, I think it was at 17.
Yeah.
That was a great one.
Yep.
That's 99, right?
No. 17 was
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
I think that's when Austin turns, where they basically like flip the script at the end of the show.
Wasn't he basically? Wasn't he planning on retiring at that point?
That was 18, maybe 18 or 19, I think was.
Yeah,
it was
2003.
It was 19, which was Austin's last match, I think, and that was with The Rock.
With The Rock. Okay, I thought that's the one that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the pay-per-view where Brock basically breaks his neck when he tries to
press. Yeah.
Oh, very. I don't like watching that.
Yeah.
Because breaking my foot at my wedding to now go back
and watch a dude
and see something like that.
Watch, like a 370-pound dude do a flip in the air and land straight on his face and neck.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's a fun time.
All right, so out of injury, so my stomach doesn't turn upside down. Kevin, what's your favorite WrestleMania?
I don't know if I can pick a favorite, but one match that I remember being awesome was Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle. I remember the match lasting I remember it lasting for like almost an hour. And I think there were like several finishing moves during that match, and it was, I don't know. I remember it just being so, what's the word I'm looking for?
Fantastic?
Sure.
Amazing.
I'll go with that, yeah.
Yeah.
That
was a good match.
It had you on the edge of your seat.
We, if I remember correctly, watched that at our old boss's house where we ate roast beef.
Yes, we did.
It's not a joke.
I just love the callback to roast beef.
Well, it was very weird. Our old boss was just like, "Would you guys like to come over and I'll order this and cook you dinner?"
Yeah,
and we're like, "Yeah."
She didn't even care about wrestling. She's like, "Hey, just come over. I'll make dinner. and You guys can watch it on the big screen."
That's Looking back, I think she was going to seduce us.
That's weird.
Maybe. I don't know.
Is there something in that roast beef? Was she actually serving you roast beef?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Cutting it fresh and everything for us.
It was. I remember it being quite delicious.
It was. And Brad was with us.
Yeah, he was.
I just remember I was like, my buddy's going to come. And she's like, okay. Is my cat clawing at the couch?
Yeah.
Yeah, she does that.
I think that was one of my favorite matches.
Okay. That's a good match. Man, now it's back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had all this time to think.
And I haven't. I haven't thought at all. Man, the whole time, all I can think of is the 1999 to 2002. I remember that being like the prime years of worry-free in my life. So, man.
So we're not talking about WrestleMania anymore?
No, we are. I'm just trying to think of that time frame. I mean, because that's where we had 2 TLC matches.
Yeah.
Two Rock Austin matches. We even had the infamous Booker T versus Edge for hair shampoo rights on the commercial in Japan match.
I don't remember that.
I completely forgot about that, and I'm really upset that you just reminded me about it.
I mean, at that same pay-per-view, you had Goldust versus Maven in the hardcore match that ended up in the parking lot, and Hurricane somehow came swinging by in a branch and won. Oh, stand back.
So Hurricane.
So, I mean, if I had to guess, I'll say the main event at WrestleMania 2000. Because we had Rock, Triple H, Mankind, and Big Show with the McMahon in every corner. Mm-hmm. And I guess I was shocked that the owners of a company would put themselves out in the public that much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Shane always took great chair shots.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Because I remember that was the first time I ever realized growing up where this might be choreographed. Mm-hmm. Because their entrances... So it was Mankind, then Big Show, then Rock, then Triple H. And that was the order of elimination also.
Huh.
And I remember saying to myself, that was weird. We're leaving the way that they came in. So that made me wonder, and that was Mankind's retirement match.
Quote unquote, yeah.
So, and then he came back as commissioner, and he had all the weird stuff going on with Too Cool always in the background and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it was.
It was a weird time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Yes, it very, very much was. So I'll say that match because that's why I guess I started to realize things, but also enjoyed it. And that was the first time I ever was allowed to stay up for pay-per-view with our Black Box.
Ah, yeah.
That's how
Those
we
were good
watched.
times.
Yeah. And I remember the pay-per-view started at like 8, and then it was still 12:30
Yeah.
in the morning, and the match wasn't over yet.
Oh, okay.
At that point, it was still Triple H and Rock, and they still went for like 20 minutes after they two got eliminated. And I just remember saying, my dad's going to come downstairs at any point and tell me to shut it off. I'm not going to know what happens. I'm getting really, really nervous.
Yeah.
He never did.
Oh.
He asked me the next morning how late I stayed up, and then he said, you're never doing that again because you have school.
But I bet you do it all the time now.
With video games and movies. Not wrestling anymore.
Because you're a grown man.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. So Kevin Graham, favorite wrestling entrance music?
Wow. I've never been asked that question.
Yeah, I told you I'm a great interviewer.
These are some. I asked for hard hitting questions, and you're bringing them to me. I honestly, I don't know. It'll be a while before I can probably think of one.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
I'll say either Austin or DX. Austin, because once that glass shatters, I think every single time I was watching, I would jump out of my seat because I'd be so excited.
Just like the crowd.
And the DX, I just loved it. So
that makes sense. I would have to say probably the Gentleman Timothy Collins is my favorite entrance wrestling music. I'm joking. No, if I'll be a perfect fanboy right now, and the Hardy Boys got me every single time.
Yeah.
I enjoy the tag team and just hearing, I guess you could say, the tribal drums start to pick up the music, and there's the flashing lights, and you're just like, hooray! It's the boys!
But what about Edge?
You know what? Take it back. Edge right before he retired because
because he came out
because he used Alter Bridge.
Alter Bridge. Okay, I was gonna say because he came out to like a few different.
And Alter Bridge is my favorite band. So Kevin, thank you for correcting
You're
me
welcome.
on that. So
you're welcome. I was thinking for you.
You're a great counterpart for a podcast. You got my back.
I try.
I think I figured mine out, and I'll probably have to go with Legion of Doom.
Okay.
Because that was a badass.
Oh yeah.
Intro.
I remember about Legion of Doom with their entrance as a kid.
Oh yeah.
I felt like they were yelling at me.
Their football pads with the spikes.
I remember like the first time I watched that, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I love it.
What about the Bushwhackers?
I'm trying to remember their music.
I don't remember the music. I just remember them just coming out like a couple of idiots.
Oh, well, you just completely changed the topic. That's why I'm all confused. But yes,
it was so technically an entrance.
This was them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of hillbillies with their gray camo pants.
Yep.
That's true. That's true.
And they were on an episode of Family Matters.
They were.
Yeah.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
I can always trust you for this knowledge.
Yeah.
That was a deep pull, my friend. That was a deep pull. Kudos.
That genre of shows, Kevin has a plethora of information.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, we should do a podcast
nowhere.
on that just to let you talk for an hour.
See, I can't really... It comes out of nowhere. So it's not like I can sit here for an hour and talk about it. It's just... It'll just come up.
You just need to prep.
Yeah. Okay.
We can do it next week, so just get ready.
All right.
Favorite finishing maneuver?
Oof.
Probably will have to... I was always a big fan of the DDT.
I wonder why.
As simple as it was... No, this was even before that. Because I know what you're getting to.
That it's all a dream?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I like you know where I'm going with it. So.
I know where you're going with it, but I was always a fan of the DDT prior to that.
I mean, that knocked out Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
It did, because he dropped him on his head and on the concrete.
Yeah. He somehow came back.
I know. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I always liked the DDT. That was one of my favorites. I remember you giving me a DDT once when we were at college, and I actually my head actually drilled into that concrete floor.
Was this in the hallway when we had wrestling matches in the dorm?
And I remember being stunned, and like seeing this like bright flash, and we just kind of like kept going, and I don't remember much after that. So I could have been concussed.
That's usually what happens when you get a DDT.
How the hell did my wife even stay with me? in college.
She didn't know you at that point. When
The wrestling matches were prior to me meeting her before Halloween? Okay.
Yes. I mean, there might have been some afterwards, but I think my favorite finishing move was probably the stunner, because I used to just randomly give it to people all the time. Just walk up to someone and just give them a stunner.
It is a good first impression move. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Paul Man Stunner, right there.
I mean, it's better than the Luthez press.
Yeah.
That he would do. So
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Probably for me, finishing move. I'm again going to be a fanboy. Rock bottom.
Okay.
Just because.
Yeah. Right.
I remember when I attempted to follow the dream. I made it a rock bottom into a spine buster was going to be my finisher. So I'll go with that.
Okay.
And it's just fun because if you get the right person, you can make them float very high in the air and come down and land perfectly on their shoulder blades, so it looks like you drilled them.
Yeah, or if you don't like them, you just drill them right into that friggin' mat, which I like to do. I do that a lot. Yeah. I do it to most people I wrestle. Because I'm like, I don't like you. So.
This is happening.
Yeah. This is happening whether you want it to or not.
Well, breaking news, opponents do not like each other in pro wrestling. It's not planned.
I mean, truth be told, I don't like most of my opponents anyway, so it's okay.
Man, we are getting to the bottom of shit here. All right, ready? Favorite tag team?
Well, that's easy.
Legion of Doom.
Okay.
Yeah.
New Age Outlaws.
Oh, well, I could have picked that.
Obviously.
I'm going to go Edge and Christian because I was never someone who had the benefit of flash photography at any show because we never had a camera.
I mean, you could even go Hardy Boys.
I already talked about them. So.
Yeah.
I
try and change it up a bit.
I could even go Dudley Boys.
We never even brought like Scotty 2 Hottie and Grandmaster Sexay.
We probably
Sometimes it's better if you don't.
As a kid.
As a kid. We're better off.
Yeah.
So we kind of we talked about a little bit. I want to throw another question in though because we said tag team. Favorite faction?
Ooh, that's a good one because there's a lot of good ones.
Yes.
I'm gonna go kind of a deep pull that not many people probably are aware of, but I'm gonna go with the Dangerous Alliance.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Okay, so WCW. This was Paul Heyman's group.
Oh my God, way back in the day.
Yeah, and this is when he had guys like Austin before he was really Austin.
Yep.
Like
long blonde hair.
Bobby and Rick Rude.
Yep.
Like just for that time, you had a lot of guys that were old school that could still go, and guys that you had Austin at the time. So Paul Heyman. Like you don't get much better on the mic than him.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just name a whole bunch that were all around the same time. You got DX, Ministry, the Union.
Oh my God, the Union! Oh! Test, Big Show, Ken Shamrock, Al Snow, Mick Foley, and at one point Austin.
Was he in the Union?
He was kind of because they were rallying against the corporation, so he was kind of like he was kind of helping them out from time to time.
Right.
Yeah.
Tim?
I'm gonna say probably what they call the Radicals?
Yeah.
Because again, it's that time frame of when I'm a kid and I don't understand the reality,
Sure.
and you see it as the show, and I was like, they're on WCW. What are they doing here? And they just got in the ring and just started messing New Age Outlaws up.
They
happened a lot.
They beat them up.
Yeah, and then Eddie Guerrero popped that elbow out
Yep.
on that 5-star the next night on SmackDown.
Yep.
We didn't mention the right to censor.
Oh my God.
I enjoyed that just because I enjoyed watching Stevie Richards wrestle.
I remember because whatever the night he debuted that gimmick. Because I remember being at my buddy Dave's house and we were watching Raw because it was like over the summer. We were watching Raw in his basement, and I think it was like it was Jerry Lawler versus Dean Malenko were having a match.
Okay,
but it was like a series. Anytime one scored a pinfall, the female companion of their opponent would have to take off an article of clothing.
So let me guess, Jerry Lawler had Kitty? Was that
he
her
had
name?
Kitty, and I think Malenko was with Terry Reynolds.
It would be Terry Reynolds.
And then
either Terry Reynolds or Mop.
No, Saturn.
Oh, sorry,
Saturn
Saturn had
yeah,
a Mop.
yeah.
That's right.
And then that's when Stevie came out with the right to censor thing and put it over. I think he put it over Miss Kitty, and then pulled her away. And my buddy Dave and I were both really upset because we couldn't see boobs.
Well, of course.
Like you just said, couldn't see taters.
You know, I'm surprised that no one mentioned the Heart Foundation or NWO.
See, the NWO got too big too fast. Like I remember, I remember the moment where I was just officially over most of WCW, and it was when there was a pay-per-view match between Virgil and Stevie Ray to determine who would be the leader of the NWO B Squad. And I'm like, this is just dumb. Why am I doing this?
Well, we will get to dumb
Okay.
about WCW in a little bit.
Okay.
We will definitely get there.
Okay.
To kind of build our way into it, let's talk about the movie.
Let's
build
do it.
into this, I would like to get ready to rumble with both of you.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Since we're about wrestling, rumbling. See.
We got
The movie's called Ready to Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that perfect time period of 2000 when we were young and dumb and full of cum, as we learned from what movie is that?
I don't think
Point Break. Point
Yes.
Break. That's what they say in there.
I don't think that's what that thing means, but go ahead.
Uh,
I don't think that means what you think it means.
I think I know. Yes.
I
know.
don't think you do think.
We're gonna move on. So, Ready to Rumble. What are you guys' opinions on Ready to Rumble?
Oh my
I
god,
love that movie.
I loved that movie when I first saw it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
it's hysterical.
Yeah.
Theater or home video?
Oh, theater and home video.
I don't think I ever saw it in theaters.
Okay. So at home.
Yeah.
I also saw that home.
That was one of the movies I asked my dad to take me to, because there was like there was a period of time where there were like a couple of movies coming out. And I was like, Dad, you have to take me to go see this. And he was like, all right. And then like 10 minutes in, he's just like, God damn it. And then he just like fell asleep for the rest of the movie.
So, similar story.
Okay.
Didn't see it in theaters, but when it came out on video, did we have a Blockbuster in the area?
No, we had Video King. Well, you guys were a little bit further away from me because you were close.
Yeah, I was right here. So 31.
There was a Blockbuster.
Yeah, you guys
around
would have
the corner.
But there's also Wegmans, right? When did the
Oh,
Wegmans?
yeah,
You guys
there
would have
was one at
had
Wegmans.
the video store in Wegmans, or you would have had the Blockbuster on 57.
57.
I had the Video King over on Route 11.
Oh yeah, there was a Video King on 57 too.
Oh yeah, there was.
And
Yeah,
then
I can't remember,
And then
but
the one in Wegmans.
I remember we were going to go rent a movie, and I said to my dad, we should get this movie. He's like, what's it called? I go, Ready to Rumble. He thinks it's like an action movie.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay.
Like Rumble
so we
in the
get
Bronx.
it.
Yeah.
And we got a pizza. It's me, my brother, and my dad, and we start watching it. My dad's kind of like, this movie's kind of weird. I don't know where this is going. This kid's yelling, wrestling's not fake. I like wrestling. Yada, yada, yada. And then my dad realized what it was in the dream sequence with Macho Man in the convenience store.
Yeah.
And my dad's exact words were, motherfucker. And he got up and he walked away. And the next morning he goes, I can't believe you got me to rent you a movie about fucking pro wrestling. Yeah. So that was my memory about that movie. But no, I mean, overall, it wasn't the worst movie.
No, not at all.
I mean, looking back at it now, I think it's enjoyable for how bad it is.
Because we enjoyed it when we were younger.
Yeah,
Right.
And it's just one of those stupid movies that you can watch over and over again because it's stupid and silly.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't plan on watching it because you hope that it's a good movie. It's just.
Oh,
it's
that's
fun.
why I went to it.
It's funny and there's wrestling. Well, as a kid, you're expecting to go in to see a movie, just enjoying it. You don't want to pick apart anything. You're just like, this looks like it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So you go and watch it.
Well, I was excited because I was like, wow, this is a wrestling movie that deals with WCW.
Yep.
And then I watched it and I was like, oh, the whole roster's in this movie. Like, what's his name? Hoovy the Juice? Like, he's even in the movie, too.
Hoovy Toot, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, man, everyone was in that movie.
Yep.
And Sasha and the Nitro Girls, and learning if you just got one nut, is it still your left nut? Like, all of these great things I learned from this movie.
The really hard-hitting questions in life that you need to, at some point, learn and have answered.
I mean, it's a movie about a guy who sucks up shit from a porta potty who achieved his dream and became a champion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great story.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a Jimmy the King fan boob, as they like to say in the convenience store.
Jimmy the King fan boob.
It's going to be $1.26, $1.25. That's all I got.
That's just not good enough, now is it?
There's a lot of glare coming off of that dome of yours. Squirrel nuts!
You guys remember way more of that movie than I do.
I mean, Sal Mandini want to wrestle. He goes through this whole adventure. And that, I guess, if you want to really break a movie down, it had the classic things that you need for character development.
It has the hero's journey.
It does. He gets brought into a world in which he has no idea and he has to overcome. So, I mean, that was great. I can't remember how he got caught up in it.
It's because they went to a match where
Jimmy the King got screwed over.
And they made it their duty to basically bring him back and get him back on top.
That's right, because they had to find him in the trailer park.
Yep.
And he's like, I don't think that... Yeah, he's dressed as a woman. Here, take this money and go get me some beer. Okay, but before we do, can you give us a be gone? Well, no, how about this? Go get my beer, you fucking morons. Oliver Platt did actually a really good job.
Yeah, he did.
He's great in West Wing, too, if you haven't watched West Wing. He's great as the president's lawyer. He's great in that show. Yes, I just went from Ready to Rumble to the West Wing.
There you go.
But no, I enjoyed it. And did anyone else notice how David Arquette reprised his role from Scream and Ready to Rumble?
What?
He's Dewey the cop. And then Ready to Rumble at the main event in Las Vegas, he's a cop.
He's
dressed almost the same way.
He's Gordy the cop.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, his father was a cop in the movie, and his father wanted him to be a cop, and he was studying at one point to be a cop.
So you just remembered more than I did. I forgot about all of that. Yeah, because I remember
that was a big,
he was going to go to the show in Cheyenne, Wyoming, or whatever the heck the town's called. And his dad's like, make sure you're in bed early. You got a big test tomorrow.
Well, it's funny because it was basically you and your dad. Like, your exact relationship.
Yeah.
Except for the whole becoming a cop thing.
Yeah. It was more becoming a normal human.
Yeah. Becoming an adult.
Yes. It took much longer than it should have.
Still haven't gotten there.
No, we haven't. I'm actually surprised you're even hanging out with me because of it. But no, and to get to that really, really bad WCW moment, they did a really big publicity stunt with that movie where David Arquette showed up on WCW.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And he won the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yes.
And to make it worse, he did it where we live.
I was there.
I was too. I was in the third row.
I was like third row in the mezzanine.
I just remember during the main event, we were so close that when me and my cousin watched it the next night, you could see me and him doing the self high five, our hands up in the air at the bottom of the screen, and we were like, "Oh my God, we're on Thunder!" And then as I get older, it's like, ugh.
Oh yeah, believe me.
I mean, at that Thunder, the cat. What was his
Ernest
name?
the Cat Miller.
Ernest the Cat Miller was facing Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yep.
He kicked him in the face with a steel-toed boot.
Yep.
There was a tables match.
There was a tables match.
Where Horse, is that his name?
It
Hogan cousin or nephew or someone?
Some horse? No,
I remember he got up and he was about to do something, and Tori Wilson was supposed to come by and give him a low blow.
Yeah.
To ruin his day. She didn't just give him a low blow, because I remember my Uncle Greg and my dad were with us, and he was facing us.
Yeah. And
Tori comes by and gives him a low blow and didn't just uppercut his nuts. She uppercutted his thigh and then grabbed his nuts and stayed there.
Oh.
And my uncle goes, "What a lucky bastard." And growing up, I look back and it's like, yeah, because Tori Wilson was hot as hell.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that wasn't a low blow. She was jerking them off. It was crazy. It was crazy. But, yeah, I just remember The Wall had a table match against Sting.
That I remember that's when Sting had just gotten the bloodbath
in
for
Rochester
Vampiro.
the night before.
And so he was all like just not having it, kind of like somberly walking out and just like puts him through the table and just walks right back.
The Young Dragons were there.
Damn, how do you remember all this? Like, I was there and I have a great memory. Fuck, I don't remember half this stuff.
Yeah, what was his name? Jimmy Wang Yang?
Jimmy Wang Yang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the other dragon. But I remember when David Arquette won by giving Eric Bischoff a spear.
He also hit him with a worm at one point.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It was like the worst worm
on national TV.
On national, because I remember watching it and be like, man, they're ripping off WWF and Sky Too Hotty.
But I remember when he won, me and my cousin went, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, because you're
he's
like
an actor.
You're like 10 years old, and you're like, I'm seeing something really cool.
But
this
then
is amazing.
But then I got really confused because everyone threw food and beverage and garbage.
Because what you didn't realize was that was the start of the end of WCW.
Oh, I realize that now.
Yeah, now. But back then, we didn't realize it. Back then, we were like, yay! Now we're like,
Like at that Rise and Fall of WCW DVD?
Yeah, basically.
When they were like, when David Arquette won the championship, I was like, oh, I was
there.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
And to know that happened here.
Yeah.
Which is a bad part.
Yeah.
But Kevin, would you like to give us some Ready to Rumble facts?
All right, Tim.
I'm sweating. I'm hot in my basement. This is damn light.
It's actually pretty. It's like kind of cool down here.
Yeah, but you got the fan.
Oh,
I don't.
I'm starting to feel pretty warm.
This light is horrible. Like I guarantee my underwear is like the worst sweat stains right now.
That's gross.
Well, one thing we noticed when we were looking up this trivia was that John Cena was actually in the scene where Goldberg was working out, which, like we said, we're gonna have to go back.
We're gonna have to go back and fact check that.
Yeah,
we need someone that has this movie so we can fact check it.
I have it, but it's on VHS.
Maybe we'll YouTube it.
Okay,
might be able to find
it's got to be on YouTube.
and this should actually be interesting. Shane Helms was actually the stunt double for David Arquette.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is.
Stand back, David Arquette.
So they were planning on doing a sequel, but that never happened, which was probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you figured, like, what are you going to do at that point? So he's already established in wrestling, then I feel like it would just be bad. Because I think what made it so awesome was that it was that build-up.
Yeah.
Him just trying to achieve the dream.
So, yeah, I think they could have done, like, a Rocky 3 sort of scenario, but instead of Rocky, it's David Arquette, and then Oliver Platt being Jimmy King. He plays the Apollo Creed character.
But the sequel, though, would have
to...
I think the sequel, though, would have to be the two best friends facing off against each other. Friendship put to the test.
You could do that, too. That could be a better story, if you want to be all sentimental and shit.
I'm sorry, but Kevin, that's how our match went. You betrayed me.
You betrayed me!
You kicked me in the back!
No, I didn't!
Do you not remember the match? That's why we fought each other.
Yeah, but then you hit me with a chair.
Friends facing each other.
So one thing we were talking about earlier was Jack Palance was almost Sal Bandini, which that actually would have been
Bandini. I thought it was Mandini.
No, Sal Bandini.
I thought it was Mandini.
Jesus, man.
We didn't have IMDb back in 2000.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Yep.
I didn't have internet.
There's also a thing called the credits.
Which, as a kid, I never watched. But...
All right, how many?
That's interesting.
How many
Chris Kanyon was Oliver Plant's stunt double.
Yeah, Oliver Plant.
Did I say plant?
You said Plant.
Plant.
And Titus Sinclair was based off of Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, that I kind of assumed.
Yeah.
Or he could have been Cyrus the Virus in ECW with his censorship from TNN. Yeah, remember that? He was the corporate guy?
Yeah. And he also played Cyrus in The Matrix.
Oh my god, yes, that's right.
Or no, he played Cypher.
Cypher.
In The Matrix. So it's close enough.
You know what the worst part is I know that the steak isn't real. And then it's just information going in my head to tell me that it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Here's actually one that's actually pretty interesting. Jimmy King losing the title when he was supposed to have won is a spoof of the infamous Montreal Screwjob back in the WWF Survivor Series 1997, in which Bret Hart was supposed to have retained the title from Shawn Michaels, but lost. That was a huge moment.
When Jimmy King lost the title?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or when Bret Hart got screwed.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Jimmy King.
No,
Okay.
I was talking about Bret Michaels. It's time to go home. Bret Hart. Excuse me.
That's okay, right there. Around the time of the movie's release, David Arquette made a string of appearances on their television shows. In lieu of spending any of the money from WCW, he gave all of his earnings to the family of Brian Pillman.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
interesting.
I
I
did
never
not
knew
know
that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because Pillman would have passed away like
97?
97?
Yeah.
So that was like 2 years later.
3.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 or 3, yeah.
Huh.
All right,
Yep.
well.
Arquette was given the heavyweight title 2 weeks after the release of the movie as a promotional stunt. Yep. Lost it. They actually brought the 3-tiered cage
They did.
into
Oh,
the
yeah.
WCW as an actual match.
That was actually one of my favorite things with Chris Kanyon. Because that another moment of, oh my God.
Yeah, was when they threw him
But
off
when
the
they
top
threw
of
him
the
off,
cage.
they went through the entrance ramp.
Yep.
Like, I know it's choreographed, but it actually led to one of my favorite things, I guess, in WCW.
Yeah.
Because he got thrown off the 3-tier cage, broke his back,
Yep.
and then DDP was always pushing him around in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
And then Chris Kanyon was healed and didn't tell him and surprised DDP with a diamond cutter out of
Yep.
nowhere.
Do
And
you-
then it became the instant where Chris Kanyon was backstage everywhere just
I
diamond
was going
cutting
to say
people.
that. Did you ever see the montage video where it's just like 7 minutes of him running around giving people the diamond cutter?
I need to.
It's the greatest thing ever.
It reminds me of that one incident with DX in the back when they're talking about how the McMahons are giving them a hard time.
Yeah.
And Shawn Michaels is losing his shit.
He
He
just
just
starts
super kicks
kicking
that one
people.
guy.
Yeah.
But
All right, here's one. When Jimmy King gets fired from WCW, he could have signed a contract with the WWF. But the movie was used to regenerate interest in WCW as its audience was lowering and its ratings were dropping.
That's.
We were just talking about that. So.
yeah.
Imagine if the movie went that way and Jimmy King signs a contract with the WWF.
Oh my god! All right, how many?
I think we're good there.
All right.
That's
I
yeah.
think we're
Those
good.
are some interesting facts.
Yeah. I mean, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Wrestler movie.
Yes,
We do.
which is a much serious and
Yeah.
way more depressing movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not funny at all.
No. Yeah, that I love that movie, The Wrestler, but it can be hard to watch.
Yeah.
Well, and also, I mean, a lot of Darren Aronofsky's films are like that, where they're fantastic, but they're really only one-time watchers.
Yeah, I mean, I own it, but I think I've only watched it maybe twice.
Yeah, I've only watched it a handful of times.
It,
It's a great movie though.
but it's also it's just real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's depressing.
Just
It is.
this beaten down man
Yep.
that has nothing going for him.
At all. Like, he even just tries to play an old school wrestling game with that kid on Nintendo. And
Yeah.
Oh
the
yeah.
kid just wants to go play Call of Duty instead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel horrible for him. And he can't run because his knee hurts. And
Yep.
the doctor's like, dude, your heart, you can't do this.
And then he just dies probably.
Yeah.
don't know.
You don't even know.
We don't know.
Say he's dead.
You just kind of assume that him being in that match and jumping off that turnbuckle, that
Believe me,
he's dead.
he's dead.
I mean, Aunt May's in the movie.
Who?
May.
Yeah, she is.
Yes. I mean, we really get to see all of her Spidey sense in that movie.
Jesus, man.
Why do you think Tony Stark was so interested?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you watched the wrestler.
Yes, because Tony Stark watched The Wrestler. He's like, hey, you're that former stripper. I'm sorry about Uncle Ben, but come here.
Hey.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see more of that in the next movie this summer. But, no, I mean, it is tough to watch. And, I mean, it's the small stuff, too, of him taking Marissa Tomei out and just shopping for, a coat
Yeah.
I love Marissa
for his
Tomei.
daughter. And that relationship was great. Even, when they get to the boardwalk and the abandoned building. and they have the breakdown of the one small little moment they actually make a connection.
Yep.
Just to have them fuck it up.
Yep. I don't know if you know this, but most wrestlers are just scumbags and whores.
Well, I do know this.
As we've learned in Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, not even that, just life.
Life.
I remember when I went down with Mark House to a show in Pennsylvania to wrestle in a Battle Royal, and I heard that Just Incredible and Axel Rotten were going to be there.
Yeah.
And, that was depressing.
Yeah.
The show never started. We were all just...
That's how most indie shows go, too.
Well, no, the show didn't start. We were all just in the ring, just doing our thing, just stretching and working out and stuff. And we walked backstage, and Axel is just on a couch.
Yeah.
It was really depressing, and he was not clear-headed at all. And he sat up, and he looked at me, and he grabbed my hand.
Yeah.
And he goes, "That was a great performance, man. You did amazing out there. Keep up all the great work." And I said, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate that." And I looked at Mark, I was like, "That was so sad. I didn't do anything yet.
Yep.
The show hasn't started."
And now he's dead.
I know. And that's the memory I have of it. That's the memory I have. It ruined because I remember watching him in ECW. So I guess what the wrestler taught me was that sad story is the god-awful truth.
Right.
Yes.
For a vast majority. Mm-hmm. So don't turn into that, Kevin.
I think I'm already there.
I don't think so. You're smiling. You're living life. You're playing the Switch with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you have a full-time job.
I do.
So.
Yeah. I think you're pretty safe with life.
Hey.
Oh, God, I'm fucking good at what I do. All right. So, Kevin Graham, do you feel the same about wrestling as you did when you were a kid?
No.
I think that's an easy no for all of us.
What changed it? What changed and what changed it for you? And I guess what changed it for you, and do you still recommend it to the youth?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I do enjoy doing it. Like, when it comes to being a wrestler, the one thing I can't stress enough is you basically have to make your journey in the business whatever you want it to be. So you have to be prepared for any of the setbacks, any of the success, and most importantly, you have to be ready for a lot of the failure, because that you're going to see a lot of it. I've taken a very different path in my journey because I went out there to basically just do it for myself and to basically see where I can go and what I can do. I'm not necessarily worrying about a lot of like the glitz and glamour of it. Hey, if I make it, that's awesome. If I don't, I had a good time while doing it. You know, that's fine.
And you have your backup plan.
And I've got a backup plan because, and that's the other thing too, is I went into wrestling, and this is actually the one thing I told you, Tim, like before I even had my first match, was like the one thing I always wanted was to just have one match.
Yep.
Like that's all I wanted was one match. And here I am 7.5 years later still doing it. So I feel like I've always been working on borrowed time with this. And like I said, like I just have a good time when I do it. I'm going out there to just entertain people, either make them love me, either make them hate me. If, you know, like I said, if I go somewhere, great. If not, hey, you know, I got a lot of other things that I enjoy doing too. So I'm not really stressing over it. I'm not letting it beat me down. But if it's somebody's goal to go out there and to make it in the business and to be the next best thing in the industry, the one thing you have to be prepared for is that you can't do it halfway. Like, it has to be your life. It has to be everything you do, everything, like, anytime you're awake, everything you eat, sleep, breathe, like, it needs to be pro wrestling. So, if that's what you want to do, go for it. But just be ready for that. I mean, aside from that, you know, as a fan, I don't really watch it anymore. When I have the opportunity to watch old stuff, I do that a lot. Because I just enjoy watching the older stuff because that's what I grew up on. Mm-hmm. And like a lot of the stuff I watch now, I honestly think that the stuff that's like the in-ring talent that is going on today, I think is the but it has ever been in the industry. but like the stories and the angles and the characters, it's not really for me. So I like to kind of like with movies and TV, I like to go find the stuff that I enjoy.
Yep.
And then there's some stuff here and there that's new and current that I like to watch, but mostly when I watch wrestling, I'm mostly watching like older stuff.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The success is so few and far between.
Yeah.
It's like any other thing. The pool of people trying to
it's like being like the one thing I always try to equate it to is it's like being in a band.
Yeah.
Or
an actor.
Or an actor. Like if you and your friends want to get together and just jam out on the weekends, and that's all you want to do, then do it. But if you want to be, selling out arenas, playing stadiums, then you need to be practicing every day, on the road, every weekend, doing it. Like, that's what it needs to be.
Being broke.
Being broke. Yeah. Oh my God. Like being broke is a huge part of being a wrestler, basically. Yeah. Yeah. And as somebody who has a lot of student loan debt, being broke is not something I can really be right now.
So that got real. You mentioned the one match, and I can agree to that.
Yeah.
Wanting to be a wrestler also when I grew up.
Yeah.
And I actually have to thank you.
Okay.
And I told you this. I don't know if you remember this, but it was 2000 and was it 10 or 2010.
Yeah.
I went down with you couldn't go to a Garden State wrestling show.
Yes.
I went.
You went.
And I didn't have boots.
Nope.
I didn't have tights.
Nope.
I didn't have anything.
Nope.
But I remember Jay Freddy's like, I got stuff in my trunk in case there's a battle royal.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, the promoter comes up to me and Loca Vida.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, people didn't show up. Do you know how to do stuff? And I was like, yeah. He goes, okay.
Which happens sometimes, yeah.
And Loca looked at me. He goes, okay, me and you were having a match.
Cool.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And there, I think, was 7-8 people in the crowd.
Yep.
Didn't make any money.
Nope.
But I remember going, holy shit, I'm having a match.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is everything from the worst day of my life that I've always wanted to become. Yeah. I'm about to do it. And I remember it wasn't extravagant. It wasn't crazy. It was very basic stuff that me and Loca did. But afterwards, I remember sweating. I couldn't breathe at all. Yeah. Like my heart was racing and stuff. And Loca came up to me after. He's like, dude, that was great. And I was like, oh my God. Like I did it. And I remember I get back and we were training and I go to you. I was like, hey, thank you so much for not being able to do it. And you were like, well, I was like, I got to have a match. And Stevie Richards was there, and we were on the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And that's where Loca actually ribbed me in the middle of the Battle Royal.
Oh, yeah. As he would do, of course.
There was at least 15 people in the ring. Yeah. And he's beating me up in the ropes. He goes, okay, I'm going to whip you. And I'm going to duck the clothesline, duck the elbow into a hip toss. And he whipped me, and then he walked away. Yeah. And I didn't know what to do, so I just kept running the ropes. Yep.
Which was smart on your part.
I didn't know what to do. Yeah. So I guess I have to... We mentioned heroes. Well, we didn't mention heroes, but I know of a hero. You mentioned a finishing move.
Yes.
So I have to ask you this question. You grew up watching this person.
I grew up watching this person.
And this person we're referring to is Tommy Dreamer.
Yes.
And that's why I mentioned DDT for his finishing move. And then not only did you get to meet him,
yes,
but you got to wrestle him.
I got to wrestle him
in a hardcore match.
Yeah.
And you didn't just wrestle him in a hardcore match. You pulled off the W.
Beat him.
You beat one of your heroes.
And then he tried to set me on fire.
That's true. I forgot about the fire part. Was that planned?
No.
Okay.
Neither was him putting me through a table. Yeah, because he put I beat him, and then I got jumped by Jimmy Olsen and Colin Delaney.
That's right. Yep.
Because my partner Brute Van Slyke helped me with the win, kind of. You know, I did a lot of the heavy lifting. I mean, let's be real here. But yeah, so I beat him, and then I got jumped after the match, and then Tommy put me through the table. And then somebody apparently handed him a lighter, and then he tried setting my tights on fire. And so that was, just another regular night in the business.
Which is funny, because that was in Binghamton.
That was in Binghamton.
And I think either the show before at Binghamton, they put Mike through a flaming table.
A flaming table, yeah.
A lot of fire in Binghamton.
Yeah. Usually Binghamton is where shit goes down. It's always a good time down there. Except for this one time. But that's a story for a different day. But yeah, I mean, like, that was, like, I think after that moment, actually, I think there were, like, there were really, like, two big moments for me in wrestling where I was like, if I stopped tomorrow, like, I'd be cool with it.
Imagining Tommy Dreamer's one.
So, Wrestlingham was one. Like, that next day, I was like, this is great. I've done everything that I needed to do, basically. And then there was the night we all got drunk with Terry Funk.
Oh, my God.
That night was, like, capturing magic in a bottle and then drinking it and then just being drunk for the rest of the night.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a great time, too.
I can't imagine that.
I actually... It's funny because... because I actually graduated the next day. I had to drive back to Oswego at like 4 a.m. So that was a fun time. Yeah.
I guess the best thing one of the best things you're going to take away is the memories and the stories.
Yeah, because there's a lot.
So I guess this is the take home question, because remember I said hard hitting questions. When you have children, are you going to tell them all your crazy stories?
Oh, hell yeah. Well, no, I can't tell them all because there's some ones that are pretty fucked up. But no, yeah, like this is like I don't keep this a secret. Like, I remember once I was going out for a job, and like when I right before I was going in for the interview, somebody came up to me and they're like, "Hey, just so you know, everybody here knows you wrestle," and I'm like, cool. Like, I don't know if you know it, but it's not a secret. I happen to use my actual name, so it's not hard to find.
My God.
No, that's good. The fact that you use it to enhance your life.
Yeah, and I mean,
and everything,
it's definitely a big talking point for a lot of things. I mean, like, I've talked about it in many interviews just for jobs and stuff. And like I said, like, it's not something I try to hide or like that I'm ashamed of. Is, a lot of people try to, put up that wall. Like, no, like, I mean, like I kind of try to separate it a little bit from my personal life. But I mean, like, if it comes up, it comes up. Like, I'm not gonna be like, no, I don't, no, that, like, that ain't me. Like, it's me.
Well, literally, it's Kevin Grant.
It's me.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So, Kevin, I guess where can people find you? Where can they buy tickets to come watch you?
I don't.
Merch.
Know. I don't.
Remember the merch.
I've got like 2 T-shirts left, and nobody wants to buy them.
You don't know if somebody listening to this might want it. Because remember, this is a podcast. Someone might listen to this in 2 years.
Somebody might listen to this in 2 years. I can tell you right now, in 2 years, I will not have merchandise. The next time you can watch me wrestle will be May 13th for GSW.
That's this weekend.
That's
a week.
That's it is.
Whoa. So soon.
You can catch that on Facebook if you're not in the Old Forge, Pennsylvania area. You can catch it on Facebook via the Powerbomb TV Facebook page. We'll be live streaming that. And I'm wrestling for Dynasty Pro Wrestling on May the 27th, I believe. That date might be wrong. They just changed the venue, though, so I don't know the information on that. But Brute Van Slyke and I will be probably defending our tag titles. But you can catch me each and every Wednesday night on Facebook via the Brainstormers podcast page or subscribe on iTunes.
That was well said.
Yes.
That's brilliant.
We have a champion on our podcast.
We do.
Like,
I know.
This is, like I said, I can't believe we got the deal we did.
Yeah.
To have him in here.
I've been pretty excited about this.
Well, I mean, you've been showing me pictures of your boner.
I know.
You're so excited. But overall, Kevin, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Much appreciated.
This has been a lot of fun.
Oh,
It has.
It absolutely has.
It's been a sweaty mess over here.
Yeah.
So there's no breeze from that
I'm
fan
enjoying
over.
watching you glisten.
I'm not enjoying the glistening. But Screen Talker, Kevin, do you want to tell them where they can find us? Because now we have 4 different locations. Okay. I love putting you on the spot. It's great. So you can find us at the new. We have an Instagram page now. There's 2 pictures on there. One advertising Kevin, and another one saying "May the 4th be with you."
Hey.
And you can find us on Instagram at Screen Talkers Podcast, all one word. You couldn't make it any easier. You can also find us on Facebook at Screen Talkers Podcast, 3 words. Screentalkers.podbean.com, and please email us at screentalkers@gmail.com because Kevin loves reading emails and responding to all the great emails that we get from our fans.
Every single one of them.
Every single one of them. We haven't received one.
See, it's kind of like me with the brainstormers. I receive and send none.
But we want to. I mean, you guys do the Facebook Live.
Yeah.
We want to do that too. We tried to set up here, and we realized
it wasn't.
My phone.
Yeah,
wasn't gonna work.
it takes a little. It takes a little doing, but once you get up and running, it's super simple.
Yeah, we got to plan it. We got to get a camera in one of these corners.
Yeah, you should get 2, so that way you can cross channel.
But I don't know how to switch that between on
There's
Facebook.
like a button.
Is there?
Maybe. I don't know.
We're gonna have to play around with this.
Yeah.
You can also, like Kevin said, you can find us also on iTunes at Screen Talkers Podcast. So please subscribe or like or even review. We don't have any reviews. Give us one. It would be great. We would love to know how we're doing. We have no feedback. So please give us something so we can make this better and more enjoyable for you. Does anyone have any last words?
Potato.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It is.
That's not even one I could think of.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to say if you go to the movies or go to watch anything, please make sure you silence your phone and
wash your hands.
And wash your hands. Thanks for listening, and we're going to end the podcast now. So thanks for listening so much.